Good evening and welcome to Face to Face. I'm Niresh Eliathambi. With me tonight is a person who is no stranger to Newsfirst and certainly no stranger to the public in Sri Lanka, Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekara, Member of Parliament. Welcome, Mr. Jayasekara.
Thank you.
Welcome back again.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot going on with Sri Lankan politics right now. We have a presidential election coming up. Various people are challenging it, trying to delay it. The parties are jockeying for position. People are breaking away, crossing this way, that way, forming new alliances. But at the same time, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, one of the parties which has ruled the country for many decades after independence, seems to have gone into a shell, and it itself does not have a viable candidate, and it seems to have split into various groups. Of course, we do have several cases going on, so we don't want to comment on those cases. But what is the situation right now, Mr. Jayasekara?
Yeah, the situation is actually a very sorrow situation actually, because SLFP, as you said, have ruled the country for decades. So many presidents we have, given to this country. And
presidents and prime ministers.
Yeah, prime minister, first women prime minister, first women president, and all kind of things. History is marvelous. The problem is now what is happening. Now actually there are two groups. One group is with Newsfirst Silva and the ministers of the government, and the other group is with Maitripala Sirisena, the former president. And because now what they have done is, because he first sacked me, from that onwards I think the problem came up. Actually now I have gone to the courts, and court has given me a interim injunction against my suspension of the membership and sacking of my secretary post. Now legally I am being reinstituted, but they didn't allow me to go and assume duties.
I see.
Right, there was a huge problem last week, because I went with my organizers and SLFPers, so many people were there. But tear gas, all the policemen with 400 people blocked me, and now I'm going to put a contempt of court. There is another case going on. So the other party actually by force, they have acquired the SLFP headquarters, and they have had the so-called Politburo. It is illegal, and the executive committee, it is also illegal, and they have been elected from the executive committee. It is totally illegal. So illegal president is there, illegal secretary is there. So and the other thing is, Honorable Maitripala Sirisena is somewhat backward, and now he's with Honorable Dayasiri. They wanted to put him as a candidate for the next presidential election. So people are actually very worried about it, but it's happening because I as a secretary of the party, legal secretary of the party, I want to ask all of them to come and have a discussion and try to mitigate these issues and try to have a common goal for SLFP. That is what my thinking is. So that is there now.
And it's a sad state of affairs for the party at a time which is very crucial for Sri Lanka. We have a presidential election coming up, notwithstanding the various challenges which seem to come towards delaying it, but we can assume right now that there will be an election in late September or early October, and there are candidates from other parties However, the SLFP, which should rightly be fielding its own candidate, given the strength of the party and the grassroots organizing power, it doesn't look as though it will be fielding a candidate.
Yes, actually, with all these problems inside the party, there are so many fractions in the party. So we could make it because from our side, if we can put forward a good candidate, there should be a chance. But the problem is inside problems have taken up in a bad situation of the party, so that is the problem. And I think it is by the destroying this party is another conspiracy of the executive of this country. That is what I am thinking about, because they want SLFP to be, suppressed. And because if we were alive, SLPP people and the people who are in the left movement, they don't have anything to do. There is no leader for them. So that is what we could have done as SLFP if we were in a strong position. Because if we ask them to come and join with us as alliance, left alliance, now it is no more, because left people now, people are still waiting for a candidate for themselves.
Right.
Now we have to think about right wing candidate. Two candidates are in the right wing. Now all the left wing candidates, left wing people, they have to wait till their presidential candidate is coming. I don't think that we can put candidate from the left wing, but ultimately that is why I told you they want to suppress and they want to kill SLFP as a party for the time being, because till the presidential election is over, we have to go to courts and get all the orders. So that is a problem here now.
Personally, which candidate would you be supporting in the election?
No, I can't personally take a decision, because as a Secretary General of the party. But we all must get together and think about it. What is the best option for Sri Lanka first? And the second option is who is the best person to work with to Sri Lanka Freedom Party, because then we also thinking about that he called Madama, the center left movement. So we are also thinking about it. I personally, I don't have a option now, still now, because I can't take a personal decision, because as a General Secretary of the party, I can't take a personal decision. So it is going to be a collective decision with all the organizers, and the former president is there. And in the meantime, I always try to take all the fractions together and try to have negotiations and try to work as a team. So that is what I'm thinking about it now.
What are your thoughts on this delay of the presidential election, or the attempts to delay the election through various means? Of course, we have seen now two challenges, legal challenges. What are your thoughts about it?
And actually, the Constitution is very clear. 83, Provision 83 of the Constitution, it says 5 years is because we have under the 19th Amendment, it has reduced to 5 years from 6 years. So other than that, there is no any other provision. So it is very clear that 5 years is the time that every president can hold his position. But now it is, it is complicated by putting all these cases. First, actually, Ranga Bandara, the General Secretary of the UNP, he said that we are going to, have another year, ask all the Sri Lankans to support it, right? So what we thought, what is this actually? This is already gone. The second thing is actually one of the person who came from Russia or somewhere and came and put a case called Leno, and Supreme Court, push it away, that case. And the third one is another case that they have filed it today. I think they are trying to have a complication situation to not to announce this election by the Election Commission. That is what they wanted to do, because they are being complicated. When you put a case in the Supreme Court, if the Supreme Court is going to take up this case, and if you give the leave to proceed, so the case is going on. So in the case, while the case is going on, Election Commission also in a dilemma to announce this election. So that is what they are going to try to do. So anyhow, we have to say there is no problem with the Constitution itself. I think Supreme Court will get a decision, I think, very soon to what are they going to do with this case as well.
There seems to be a lot of talk about perhaps it is a conspiracy, all these challenges related and so on, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And there are citizens who are going to court and so on, of course. But right now, the Election Commission has been quite clear that after the 17th of July, they do have the powers to call for nominations. Would you be urging the Election Commission to call the election as soon as possible?
Yeah, after 17th, as you said, they are getting the power to call the elections. Before that also, I think they have now we can see that they are getting ready. They call the IGP. They call the I think the printer, government printer, and they call the other officials as well. I think they are getting ready. We can see that. So after 17, I think they will definitely announce. I don't know. It is up to them to decide the best time that they can prepare and do the needful and have the elections properly. So that is up to them to decide. I think there is no doubt, as we said. I think Election Commissioner will take a decision very soon.
And of course, this time there shouldn't be any cause for delay, because we've been waiting for this particular election for perhaps 2 years now. And the Commission should have already started preparing many months ago. The major parties and the minor parties have been campaigning for at least 2 or 3 months now. So it's the Commission can't say it's any kind of surprise and they are not prepared. At the same time, the government has been very clear that the funds for the election are there. They've been properly allocated. So unlike the local government election, which for some reason they can't seem to find funds for, this particular election, the presidential, the funding is also there. So there's really no reason, is there, to delay it?
Yes, funding problem is solved for the presidential election. 10 billion has been allocated, and it is in the budget, and that allocation has gone to the Election Commission as well. And the only problem, I don't think there is any doubt, but the problem is Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, we don't know what is he going to do, because he can now also he can dissolve the parliament if he wants, right? After 17th also, he can decide dissolve the parliament.
Correct.
So if we dissolve the parliament, there will be one issue. The one issue is, how are you going to give the funds? But that fund is being allocated for presidential election. So if you are going to dissolve the parliament, and how are we going to fund it, right? So you have to, because you have to change the allocation from one allocation to the other.
But that's right? Not possible without parliament.
That is the problem.
Yeah.
So if he is going to do that, what will happen? So are you going to have the presidential election first or the parliamentary election first? So that kind of a complication is being built up by the executive of this country. So that is what my thinking, because till the new president sworn in, the sitting president can act as a president.
Correct.
So that president, there is no prohibition of dissolving parliament by the acting the president Ranil Wickremesinghe. So that is what there are so many things are happening. That is why I think that is being complicated by these kind of theories and some conspiracies and so on. So that is why I also think about because if he decides, because he has said that as we heard, he has told to Basil Rajapaksa that he is going to take some MPs from SJB, and after before 25th, if he can't do that, he will dissolve the parliament and so on. So there are so many rumors are going on, and there are problems like that. That is why I always thinking about Ranil Wickremesinghe is kind of a person who can play out with anything. That kind of a leader he is.
On the other hand, he is the president of the country. Whether you or I like it or not, he is the president. And we hope and expect that he would take decisions in the best interests of the country, not in the interests of any particular group, including his party. And I think we must remind him of that, that he is the president of the country. So
he doesn't think about his party at all now.
Well, his party has hit rock bottom, and as I did tell some of our guests on this program, that the UNP now possibly we may see a resurgence of it, because it can't go any lower. Now, tell us about this scenario where if the president does dissolve the parliament, what happens then?
One thing I told you, how are you going to allocate funds without a parliament?
You can't.
Yeah, right. But there is another way that you can do that, because as a president and the finance minister, you can allocate some funding and get the approval after after the elections, right? It is in this year, so you can do that. That is the one thing. Actually, if we dissolve the parliament before election commission announce the presidential election, so there will be 2 elections.
Correct.
Right? So anyhow, before October 17th, there will be a new president, should swear in.
Yes.
Right? So the other one is in the meantime, president has dissolved the parliament. So there is no parliament, presidential election is called. So you have to have 2 elections in one day, as I see. So can election commission do that, or are they going to have 2 days for 2 elections? That is what the election commission should decide. If that kind of a disaster done by the president, because before he in the meantime, after we think that the election commission has put the dates, but even that also president can dissolve the parliament.
Right. Now, of course, there should be no issue with having both elections on one day, and I would think that would be more cost effective, probably, where staffing and so on, transport, all these costs are concerned. Although I don't think we've had it like that before.
But I think it is not a cost effective, it is good because it is low cost. Budget will be low because the same stuff you can use.
Yes.
Only the problem is you must have the casting
Two ballot boxes.
two ballot boxes.
That's right. Now, if Parliament is dissolved, what is the time frame for which the new election has to be held?
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks. Okay. So that's not very long at all. So if you say 6 weeks, then it would be September. Or if it's dissolved in August, it would be in October.
Yes.
So that's still up in the air.
Yeah.
Right. So exciting times up ahead, no doubt. As if we don't have enough excitement right now. Then let's say a general election is called. Now what would be the situation of your party?
So that is the problem, because that is why we always try to get the legal entity for this party, because we have to contest for this election. If not, what will happen is election commission can summon all the parties, all the fractions in the party, ask them to have a common ground, common sense. Common
sense is actually
right?
what is required.
Right. Yeah. So if we can't come to a compromise, then the election commission will put our party on lay-by. Right. So you can't contest for this election. There's no party.
So that's an extraordinary scenario, because I think the SLFP has been contesting elections consistently from the time of Mr. S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike as its own entity or as part of a coalition. You had the PA, the UPFA and so on. So quite an extraordinary situation. But if the general election is held as per schedule next year, of course by that time the legal issues should be ironed out, hopefully. But of course several of the presidential candidates have said that should they be elected, they would dissolve parliament quite quickly. So we're looking at perhaps next January we might have a general election, if not sooner. So there's really no time to lose for the SLFP to get its act together. Right. So tell me, apart from what's going on in court, are there discussions, negotiations going on between the factions?
No. Because the people who are handling the party now illegally, they don't want to have a compromise discussions or something like that. They think that they have the party, they have the board of the party, right? They have the official office of the party, so that is what they want. I don't think that the people are not with them, because people are in a dilemma. So what is going to happen? All the cases are in courts. These fellows are with the government, and we are not in the opposition. Normally the SLFP, we have decided not to take part of this government. So actually without our consent of the party or consent of the central committee, they took all the positions that they are hold now. So so that concept that we have put forward and approved by the executive committee and the central committee, known by all these people. So they are very worried about, because what they are doing is what we didn't decide. That is not the party decision. Against the party decision, they have taken these positions. So they are in the village level, they are not very popular with that decision.
Well, I think it was President R. Premadasa who had a philosophy of consultation, compromise and consensus. So unfortunately, the SLFP is at the moment not following that. We will go in for a short commercial break. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekara, Member of Parliament.
Voice Kids Kirula Dino Aslam Roshange Palamu Geetaya Spotify Apple Music YouTube ඇතුළු ඔබගේ ප්‍රියතම සංගීත සේවාවන් හරහා රස විඳින්න ජංගම දුරකථන ජාලය ඔස්සේ ඔබේ රිගින්ටෝන් එක ලෙසද ඇක්ටිවේට් කරගත හැකියි.
Entertainments.
නායිකයිද රෝස් පාන් කිව්වලු. කවුද මේ? මං එකපාරට දැක්කේ ෆහද් ෆාසිල් වගේ.
නැදන් ඉන්න ඇතුණුත් ගලවලා දාලා උන් පාට ඇදලා දාන්න ඕනේ.
ලොක්කා එහෙම කරලා උන් අතහැරියොත් ලොකු දෙයක්. රිද්මස බලාගෙන ඉන්නකෝ ඉස්සරහට මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා.
පිස්සු කෙලන් හිටියට අක්කපේ තාත්තගේ පණ. එයා ජීවතුන් අතර ඉද්දි පණ යනවා දැක්කනම් ඔබට ලේසි වෙන්නේ නැහැ මචං.
කියා දෙන්න ආදරේ තරම් අද රාත්‍රී 8 ඉදියට
සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්
උජාදුවට මොකද උනේ? කියන්නකෝ අපිට. අංකල් මං කිව්වනේ අංකල් මං අහම කියන්නම් කියලා.
මේ මරණය ගැන අපිට සැකයි.
පුරුවට බය කරලා වගේ තල්ලු කරලා අතක් පය කරලා දාන්න කියලා විතරයිනේ මාලේ. ඔච්චර ලොකු ඇක්සිඩන්ට් එකක් කරන්න කියලා මං කිව්වේ නෑනේ.
පූජා කියලා ලේඩි කෙනෙක් මේ හිටියා නේද?
ඔව් සර්. ඔව්.
එයා මැරලා ඉඳෙද්දි තමයි හොස්පිටල් අරන් ගිහලා තියෙන්නේ.
දෙයක් කරේ නැහැ අංකල්.
නීල පබලු අද රාත්‍රී 9ට සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්.
Lanka's Got Talent. Weekends at 8:30 p.m. on Sirasa TV.
We live in a world of progress. But what if progress isn't reaching everyone? Millions of Sri Lankans struggle without access to clean water, safe roads and bridges to a better life. But you have reached out. You have touched their lives. Thank you, Sri Lanka, for making Gammadda the most impactful rural development movement in our nation. Gammadda, for the people, by the people.
Welcome back to Face to Face. We are with Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekara, Member of Parliament. Mr. Jayasekara, we spoke at length about the troubles in the SLFP right now, but let's move to a more national level. The nation is still in the doldrums. The economy is just stumbling along. Yes, we do have petrol and diesel and gas and so on, but there is no significant economic growth. We are still around 2%, which is really nothing when you compare to the rest of the world and the rest of our South Asian region. Right next door, the southern states of India are supposed to be growing at close to 8 to 10% GDP per year over the next couple of years. So in comparison, we just next door to them, we are doing very badly. What needs to be done to bring this back on track?
Yeah, there are four things actually. This is a dollar crisis, this is not something else, right? This is a dollar crisis. How are we going to get rid of this? That is the first thing that we have to think. Now, we have 12 billion US dollar income from export. So in another 5 years' time, how we should go into 20 billion US dollars? What is the plan? What are we going to do? What is the state sector should do? What is the government should do? How are we going to, improve the grassroots level export small factories to develop to that level, right? That is one thing. And there is another thing that how are we going to have value-added products to Sri Lankan, minerals and all kind of things. So the second thing is actually how are we going to control imports? Now import bill is $20 billion US. How are we going to control? Control means that you are not going to stop this, but how are we going to produce the things that we are importing, right? So that is the second thing. The third thing is actually the tourism. How are we going to go into good tourism income? For 2018 we got $4.3 billion US and 2.5 million tourists came here to Sri Lanka. So how are we going to go to 4.3 billion to even to $8 billion US? What we should do here, right? It is not merely a person to come to Sri Lanka and be there in a hotel and go back to their countries. How are we going to develop all these places that attraction should take into all the foreigners to go all these places and go and be there and spend some money and have a leisure time and get the experience of Sri Lankan history, culture and all kind of things, right? So we must have a plan for that. And the third thing is actually the people who are sending money to Sri Lanka. It was actually 7 billion in 2018. How are we going to put up it to 10 billion or 12 billion like that? Because we have nowadays, as we see all the graduates and all capable people are going out of the country for jobs. So what is the best way to get the dollars into the country? What are we going to do to them? What are the benefits that they should have given? Because if they are going to send money in dollar or yen or pounds or something like that, what is the benefit that they are going to get? So we have to have a proper plan for that. And the fifth one is the investment. How are we going to develop the investment forums, and how are we going to get the delays out of this all the investments? So those are the things actually we have to think about it very seriously in another 5 years' time. If you have a proper system, as you said, to get rid of this thing, we have to have a even 8 to 10% growth for another 10 years to come out from this crisis. That is the only way, because it is not a 1 or 2 years work to be done. It is 10-year plan we must have how to get rid of this whole crisis.
Increasing the value of exports, Mr. Jayasekara, my understanding is you can't sort of say we are at 12 billion now and 2 years from now it's going to be 20 billion.
Not 2 years.
Yeah, but it's more you need to build it up and the 20 billion will come at some point. So it's not something that you can actually set
So what I'm saying is actually we must have a proper plan for that.
Right.
Not in 2 years, but I'm saying it in 5 years, how are we going to come up for this? Because that is why I told you there should be a proper plan. Right. How are we going to add value, things introduced to the grassroots level, small factories, and how are we going to do that? So that kind of a proper plan, and the allocation should be given for for loans, the export industries. That kind of a huge plan should be
the comprehensive
comprehensive one should be there.
Yes.
Without that, you can't do that.
Right. You mentioned the small and medium businesses as well.
Yeah.
But my understanding is right now the interest rates are a little too high and no one can really start a viable business. Of course, say 30 years ago, we had DFCC and NDB and other development banks.
There is no development bank now. That is the problem.
So
all the development banks we have started, DFCC, NDB, all have now been commercialized.
Right.
So there should be a development bank who should fund to the grassroots level, small industries, medium industries. How are we going to have a large scale industries for exports? That is up to them to decide. So that is why there should be a huge funding from the government and try to build up a new entrepreneurship culture.
Now, why is it 2 years or more after the country's economy crashed, we still don't have these building blocks in place?
Actually, I don't know because government should take immediate actions. The delaying of taken decisions is a biggest problem because, as we know, the government sector people, the secretaries and all the decision taking people are not in a position to take decisions because they are very afraid the problems that they have occurred for last few years. So that is one thing. There should be a team take a decision correctly and quick decision should be taken and do things quickly. Otherwise, as you said, another 5, 6 years, 10 years will be like this because nothing in progress.
That's right. Yes, and we can't afford that anymore because our young people have many more options overseas. Maybe not the best ones, but they can certainly do better overseas, and they are doing right here in Sri Lanka right now. So it's very attractive for young people to simply get on a plane and go and live with some family member overseas for a few months and find a job. So that's what's happening. So how would you set about asking the youngsters not to leave?
If they don't have a future that they think, because they are not now like early days, like we didn't have that kind of a facility to think about the world economies and countries' economies and their facilities that they are using. Now it is open. So young people, they always go through their internet and all kind of things and see the world. So they know if you go out of the country, you should have you have a chance to go up in the ladder. So in Sri Lanka, they think that that future is not coming to you. So that is why I always say they are the best people to take this initiative, take this leadership and do that. But the problem is they don't see the future. They are thinking always why we should waste our time here. What is the benefit that I am going to get? Earlier we thought about the country. Country will benefit it. So I must sacrifice myself. Now that is not the case. The young people, they all are thinking, I am wasting my time here. Why should I waste my time? There are so many opportunities, as you said. So they will think, right, okay, we'll go somewhere and work, right? And in the meantime, you can get your studies as well. So that is the best way of doing this. That is future, proper future is not seen to you. That is the biggest problem here. They are vulnerable. They think, why should I being here? Why I am wasting here in Sri Lanka without going anywhere?
And also, I think it shows a lack of confidence, a crisis of faith in our political leaders of today. Not just the ones who are ruling right now, but even the others in the opposition and so on.
The problem is actually, Niresh, there is no proper system in our system. Political system is also the same. because the capable people are sidelined, right? The capable leaders are sidelined, right? They don't allow anyone to come up the ladder, right? They have been cut, they have been, as I said, push out. So these are the problems. That is why always the leaders of the parties are only one or two fellows who are leading the parties are young people, but all the others are very, very old. They don't even can't think about what is happening. They don't know what is happening in the world, right? There is no exposure, right? So that is the problem of the system, right? When you go to the parliament, you're not allowed, come up in the ladder. So there are so many issues. There are so many good leaders, the ground level, and in parliament also there are so many educated and hardworking fellows are there. They don't allow them to come up and do things. So we'll see in the future elections. I think the people of this country will think you should think about the right people to be nominated and elected to the parliament, and after that we can see some kind of a difference, not like the last time. The next time, that is up to you to decide who should lead this country and who should take up the responsibility for to develop this country.
But isn't there also a problem that the young leaders, quite apart from not being allowed up the ladder by the older ones, they are not visible. The young leaders are not visible to the public because we don't have provincial councils, we don't have local government. Therefore, you don't have them in the Pradeshya Sabhas, the urban councils, the city councils and so on. You don't have them. So they may be active within a party, but they can't be seen in public. Isn't that a huge problem?
So I'm 100% agree with you, because these are the schools of training, right? Local government election, when you become the Pradeshya Sabha member or the chairman of the Pradeshya Sabha, local government councils, that is the breeding point, right? That is a training school of your career. Because I came in to Provincial Pradeshya Sabha in 1997. Started my career as a politician, right? So after that I came to Parliament in 2004, and again I went back to the Provincial Council. There are so many chances to build up a leader in that system. Now, as you said, there is no provincial councils because it is governed by a governor, no members of the provincial council, there are no ministers, right? So it is totally, neglected now. Right? That system is neglected. So that is why, as you said, those are the training schools. First, the local governments, and after that you come to the provincial councils. You groom up like like a good leader, and after that you come to the parliament. And in parliament you can be there for 1 term or 2 terms, and you become minister or a vice minister or something like that. So that is how it comes. But as you said, it is now the ground level is already gone. There is no provincial council, no local government elections. It is a big problem to develop a leader.
The possibility exists in the next general election that we would have maybe 100 or even 150 new MPs, maybe less, who knows. But the sentiment of the country has been that there's a lack of faith in many of the present members of parliament. So we may see a lot more new MPs coming in. But many of those new MPs may not even have served in a Pradeshya Sabha. So there are and they may be appointed to cabinet. So you may actually have a situation where you have a new cabinet minister who has never been in any form of government.
Definitely, because that is a huge issue, because administrative experience you are getting from the provincial council and the Pradesh Sabhas, local government councils. So that is the starting point. What is the administrative system? How are we going to administer this system and the provincial system? And after that, to work with the secretaries and the government servants, and you can understand, you can study the system of doing all kind of things, and financial positions, financial disciplines, and all kind of things you can study. As you said, without all this, when you come to the parliament and became a minister, you don't know anything.
It could be quite disastrous. And we don't have to go too far back. We have an example, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the president. When he became president, he appointed a lot of senior military officers, retired ones, to head various departments and institutions. And however great they may have been as military officers, they found it very tough going to deal with our civil servants.
Yeah, because that is his thinking now. So he's a military man. He thought, right, everything can be done by our military, officials. So that is his, style of doing work. But as you said, it is actually not worked, right? So ultimately, we had to, sacrifice our lives for that, right? Because that kind of a leader being taken in as a president of the country. We all have experienced our, situation like, we have never seen in our whole life, right? So that is why I always say, don't test people, right?
Right.
Give a chance to a person who can do, who has done something, and who has experience, right? With all kind of things you have to think about twice before you elect some person, right? I always think like that because we have experienced so many problems with those people.
So many disappointments. Right. Now, you spoke a little bit about investment and the need to speed things up. But isn't it the case that we have all these multiple layers of people who need to sign off before an investor can come in and actually start working? For example, if an investor wants to set up a factory here, you might have to go through 20, 30, 40 different layers, many of which would want their bribes as well, and the investor would get fed up with it. So in terms of battling corruption, which is a big cry of the people, isn't it the best option to simply remove most of those layers where, if you have, say, the BOI becomes a one-stop shop, then wouldn't it serve the purpose?
Yeah, as you said, in 1978 they have started the BOI. It is called one-stop shop, but it is a full-stop shop now because it is no one can come in, right? So there are so many barriers, as you said. But Nilesh, when I was the private secretary to the Minister Professor Piris at that time in 1998, Ministry of Investment Promotion and Industries we had. At that time we had we started a new system. It is called Exporters Forum. Normally the minister summons all the officials with all the institutions that we think about the layers, and on the other side, the investors, right? So you sort out all the problems in otherwise there is no other proper way at that time, right? That is how we decided, how we got all the approvals on that meeting, because we asked them, right, what is the problem with that, right, give it, there is no issue, right, okay, what is your other problem, like that. It is bottlenecks we sorted out. Like that, the system it should be there. And in the meantime, I think now we have passed a new law for BOI. We don't. I had so many problems with that bill because I raised so many questions. Actually, now the BOI board is one board. Now they are going to have 14 boards for every zone that they are going to have. So wasting of money, right? How much we are going to give them, because there are those positions are permanent position of the government. So it is going to be a huge problem. So I raised all these questions in Parliament. But anyhow, there are good things in that as well. I think with that, for the investments, I think there will be new regulations we have passed. I think when it works, there won't be so many problems that we have heard earlier.
So hopefully it will lead to some streamlining,
yes.
Because we are, after all, competing for investment with India, with Bangladesh, with Vietnam, with so many other countries, which are actually far more attractive to investors than we are. So we need to make ourselves more attractive.
Yes.
Right. So how do we actually do that? Because right now, if you say Sri Lanka to an investor, you would get a negative sort of view. I mean, it's in many ways a big PR issue, public relations issue, isn't it?
Yeah, because people don't trust now with this chaotic situation, because as a country we are in a very bad economic situation. So with that, actually people don't even think about to come to Sri Lanka and invest, because you don't have anything to get from here, right?
But do you think that once we have the presidential election and a general election as well, that situation will ease up, that there would be a better view of Sri Lanka?
Yeah, because it is going to be a window opportunity for another 5 years' time, because that is what we have to market. A new government is there, and new president is there. Our thinking, how are we going to do this, and investment friendly country, all kind of things we have to think about at that level, I think, at that time. So it is kind of a very good window situation. Window opportunity will come in next January.
Excellent. We'll hope for the best. And I am afraid we have run out of time. Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekara, Member of Parliament, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Niresh.
And to you at home, thank you very much for watching us. The news is coming up next, so don't go away, and have a good evening.